Hey guys, VideoJames, and welcome to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. Now, unlike my Blue Eyes deck profile, this is going to be shorter, because the last one was extremely dragged out, so I'm going to make this one shorter, and as I did with the last deck profile, I am going to leave the entire list down in the description, so if any of you guys think you missed the cards or you didn't see them, you'll be able to see them down there. And one more disclaimer is, I still don't have all the cards for this deck, just because prices from Konami, seriously, I am done. But anyway, I will say what cards I don't have and what they are. I won't say their effects because I don't particularly remember them, but let's go ahead and get started. This is a Dinomist deck profile, as you can see by Dinomist Rex. And what Dinomists are they're basically pendulum machine types that all have the same attribute and type. So let's go ahead and get started, and we're going to start out with the MVP of the deck, 3 Dinomist Rex. Now, Rex is one of the best cards in a Dinomist deck, just because he relies on other Dinomists, and that's not too hard considering you can just flood the field with him. So what he does is, if he attacks at the end of the damage step, you contribute one more Dinomist monster, and he can activate another effect. He can make a second attack on an opponent's monster in a row, and if it's in defense position, you inflict piercing battle damage, or you can shuffle a card from your opponent's field, or a random card from their hand back into the deck, and Rex will gain 100 attack. And as of now, he's already at 2400 beat stick, and he's a level 5 water, and he has the 6 pendulum scale. And Dinomists only have 2 pendulum scales, 3 and 6, and what the 6s do is, once while a 6 scale Dinomist is in your pendulum zone, you can negate the activated card effect of any card that targets a Dinomist monster and destroy the pendulum instead. So say someone wanted to target Pteran with Fiendish Chain, destroy Rex from a pendulum scale, and Pteran stays away from the Fiendish Chain. So that's basically Rex. And then the next MVP of the deck, there's 4 MVPs of the deck in my opinion, just because they do so well. And the next one is 3 Dinomist Pteran. And unlike Rex, Pteran is a level 4 scale 3, and most of the level 4s are either scale 3s or scale 6s, because most of them are like, I think most are level scale 3. Let me check real quick. No, most of them are scale 6, because it usually turns out that the bigger ones have the lower scales, and the smaller ones have the bigger scales. So, Pteran is basically just a free search, and he's got 1800 attack, 1200 defense, and his effect is, when he destroys a monster by battle, I can take 1 Dinomist card from my deck and add it to my hand. And he's got the 3 scale pendulum, which means if another Dinomist monster would be destroyed, or Dinomist monsters, you can destroy Pteran instead. So he basically just prevents destruction from Raigeki, from Dark Hole, from basically anything you can think of that would destroy. And then we'll move on to the next one, and this is the 3rd MVP of the deck, which is Dinomist Plesios, and I run 3 of him. And Plesios is a 1700 attack, 1400 defense. He's a level 4, and he's got the scale 6. And his individual effect is, all face-up monsters my opponent currently controls lose 100 attack and defense for each Dinomist card I control. So say I had a Plesios and, we'll say, 2 Pteran, 3 Pterans, and 2 Rexes. Right off the bat, my opponent's already losing, or not 2 Rexes, 1 Rex. Right off the bat, my opponent's already losing 500 attack on every monster they have. So, that's why Plesios is so good, just because he can prevent you from getting 1-hit KO'd, and he can also make it easier for you to kill your opponent because he lowers their attack. And if you have 2 Plesioses on the field, it actually doubles the effect, making them lose twice as much. Alright, and then the next card is Dinomist Ceratops. And I run 3 of him. I basically run 3 of almost every Dinomist except for 2 of them, and that's Stegos and Ankylos. Now, what Ceratops is, he's a level 5, 2100 attack, 400 defense. And his effect is all monsters I control that are Dinomists, if all of them are not... I can't talk today. If all monsters I control are Dinomist monsters, and I don't control a Dinomist Ceratops, I can special summon Ceratops from my hand. So say I had out a Spinos on my field, immediate special summon a Ceratops, and then I can kick off Spinos' effect. And Spinos is actually the next card. Oh, and I forgot Ceratops is a scale 3. And Spinos is the final MVP of the deck. And I always run 3 Spinos just because his effect is amazing. What Spinos is he's a scale 3 level 5, 2500 attack, making him the most strong Dinomist in the deck. And he's 1800 defense. And his effect is, you contribute one other Dinomist monster to activate one of his effects. You can either attack directly this turn with Spinos, or he can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. So, say I had 2 other Spinoses on the field, I could sacrifice a Spinos, give one of them the opportunity to attack directly or attack twice. And what's good about Spinos is his effect kicks off twice, so you can use both of them. So, say I had, again, 3 Spinoses on the field, sacrifice 2 of them, not only can he hit twice, he can hit directly. So that's basically Spinos, and he is, in my opinion, the best Dinomist card besides Pteran and Rex. Just because if you get a limiter removal with him on your second turn, and your opponent doesn't have anything to stop you, that's basically one-hit KO game, if you can get off his effect. So, that's Spinos, and the next card is 3 Dinomist Brachion. And Brachion is a level 5, 2000 attack, 800 defense, and his effect is, if my opponent controls a monster with the highest attack, and I don't control a Dinomist Brachion, I can special summon him from my hand. And what's bad about Dinomists is they don't have any graveyard recovery. I mean, I wish they did, but they don't. And then the next card, and this is starting to wrap up the monsters, is 2 Dinomist Ankylos. Now, Ankylos is a level 4, scale 6, and he's got 1500 attack and 2000 defense, so right away you already know he's a wall. And his effect is, you can banish any monsters destroyed by battle with a Dinomist monster I control. So, say someone had a Blue Eyes White Dragon on their field, and I had a Brachion on my field. And say the Brachion was able to take out the Blue Eyes. Brachion takes it out, and instead of going to the graveyard, Ankylos' effect makes it banished. Alright, and then the last monster of the deck is Dinomist Stegosaur, and I only run 1 of him. I used to run 3. I used to run 3 just because he could absolutely wipe out an entire opponent's field. He's a level 4 scale 3, 1600 attack, and 1800 defense, so since Ankylos came out, he's kind of gotten replaced, but if another Pendulum monster you control battles, this is his effect by the way, if another Pendulum monster you control battles an opponent's monster, after damage calculation you can destroy them both. So say someone tried to attack a Rex with a Madolche Tiramisu. I could use Stegos to take them both out. And that does it for the monsters. That's about 20 monsters, I think. A little over, a little less, I don't know. But anyway, moving on to the spells. The first spell I run is, I run one of the most valuable cards you can ever have in a Dinomist deck. 3 Dinomist Charge. What Charge is a continuous spell. And its effect is, when it is activated, you can add a Dinomist monster from your deck to your hand. So, activate it, get out a scale if you need it, or just get a big beater to attack your opponent directly. Or attack a monster they have. And once per turn, if a Dinomist card is added from your field to the extra deck face up, add 1 of those cards to your hand. So, say I had a scale that I destroyed for some reason. Charge effect lets me add it back to my hand, so I don't actually lose the scale. That's why Charge is amazing, just because it's an ultra recovery. you really can't lose much when it's around, but you can only use its effect once, so you want to be able to consider what you want and be able to know what to keep. That's why Dinomists are so good, is because they have a keep around system, but they also have a recycle system. And then the next card is 1 limiter removal. Now, since all monsters in the Dinomist deck are machine types and they're all pendulum, limiter works out great just because it doubles the attack of all machine type monsters you control at both the activation and resolution of this card until the end phase of the turn. And at the end phase, all of those monsters get destroyed. Well, since all Dinomists are machines, this can basically just make you have an attack force of 12,000. And then the next card is the Dinomist's field spell, known as Dinomic Powerload. What this does, it gives all Dinomist monsters 300 attack and defense. Nothing really more to explain there. And your opponent can't activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step if a Dinomist monster you control battles. Not attacks directly, battles. So it has to attack a monster for the second effect to go off. And then the last card in the deck, so simple, just 1 Terraforming. I don't even need to run Raigeki just because you don't really need it with Dinomists. They are their own Raigeki. Alright, and finally moving on to the traps. And this is where I don't have all the cards. The only cards I don't have out of the traps are 2 Storming Mirror Forces. What Storming does is if your opponent declares an attack, flip this up, your opponent's attack position monsters all go back to his hand. And then starting with the traps I do have, is 3 Dinomist Rush. And this is the actual last Dinomist card in the deck. What Rush does is it lets you special summon a Dinomist monster from your deck, and if you do, it's unaffected by other cards and effects, but it's destroyed during the end phase. So, say your opponent's about to get a direct attack, and you don't want that to happen, activate a Rush from your field, and summon a Pteran or something. And since it would go to the extra deck anyway, just let it get destroyed and send it to the extra deck either way. Alright, and then the next card, which I think completely shuts down some decks, is Rivalry of Warlords. Now, since a lot of people have started running Blue Eyes with the new support, well, I shouldn't say a lot of people, but since some people have started running it, this card has become a complete and absolute block. And it completely shuts down Ghost Rex if they can only get spellcasters out. What it does is, you activate this card, it's a continuous trap, and each player can only control 1 type of monster, and at the activation, you have to send all face-up monsters you control to the graveyard, and both players have to do this, until they only have 1 type of monster. Alright, and then the next card, which in my opinion is a little bit OP, but not really, is 2 Spiritual Water Art Aoi. I don't know how to say that last word, so I just say Aoi, which is my favorite thing to say during a duel. I activate Aoi, you hurt me. Now, what this does is you contribute a water monster to look at your opponent's hand and send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Well, all Dinomist monsters being waters, I activate 2, please. I'll sacrifice 2 Dinomists if I have a field of 5. And I'll get rid of 2 cards from your hand and just shut Madolches off so they can't do anything. And then the last card of the main deck, not really much more to say about it, Solemn Warning. Everyone knows what this does. Pay 2,000, your opponent tries to summon a monster, no. Alright, and moving on to the extra deck. Again, I don't have all the cards for this. I don't have Cyber Dragon Nova, I don't have the 3 Cyber Dragon Infinities, and I don't have the Gaia Dragon Thunder Charger. So I'm just going to talk about the ones I actually do have, because I don't remember the Cyber Dragon effects worth anything. And the first one is 1 Abyss Dweller. An Abyss Dweller takes 2 level 4 monsters. He's a 1700 attack, 1400 defense. And while he has an Xyz material attached that was originally a water-type monster, all water monsters I control gain 500 attack. So say I have this on the field and a Spinos, if I have all Dinomists attached to this, guess what? Spinos becomes an instant 3000. Blue Eyes who? And during either player's turn, I can detach an Xyz material from Abyss Dweller, and a card effect that would activate in the opponent's graveyard can't be activated this turn. So say your opponent tried to get rid of Ancient White Stone. No, I'm going to say you can't use that Ancient White Stone effect, so get out of here, please. Alright, and then the next card is Castel. And Castel takes 2 level 4 monsters. He's a Winged Beast. And he's got 2000 attack, 1500 defense, so not exactly a beater, but still get some pretty good damage off him. And his effect, you can attach 1 Xyz material to target 1 face-up monster in the field and change it to face-down defense mode. Or you can detach 2 Xyz materials from him and target 1 other face-up card on the field and shuffle it into the deck. However, you can only use 1 Castel effect per turn and only once per turn. Alright, and then the next is a card that I didn't have for a long time, and it took a lot of effort to try and obtain, because the person who I had to trade this for would not trade for anything, and I had to actually do a combined trade to trade off someone to get this card from him, and it's Gagaga Cowboy. I know, shocker, everyone has had these if they've played since 2008, probably. But Cowboy is Earth Warrior, takes 2 level 4 monsters, and he's got 1500 attack and 2400 defense, so you're pretty much gonna always see him like this. And his effect is, once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from him, and apply this effect depending on his current battle position. If he's in attack position, he can attack an opponent's monster this turn, and Gagaga Cowboy will gain 1000 attack, but the monster that it's attacking will lose 500 during the damage step only. So, make a Blue Eyes and Gagaga equal attack, and they'll basically just go down. And then the defense point is just burn for 800. And then, next card is number 37. I'm just going to say Spider Shark because that name is way too long. So, rank 4 Water Sea Serpent takes 2 level 4 waters, which is why Dinomists can especially pull this out, is because they have almost all level 4 water monsters. He's got 2600 attack and 2100 defense, so right away he's one of the most powerful cards in the deck. And his effect is, when any player's monster declares an attack, detach an Xyz material, and all monsters your opponent controls lose 1000 attack and defense. And if he's destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, target another water monster in your graveyard, bring it back from your graveyard. So say you had a Spinos in your grave that you didn't really want there, let Wyvern get destroyed, bring back the Spinos. And then next card is one that I've had for a long time, and I used to run in windups, number 61 Volcasaurus. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what this does, but in case you don't, he's a fire, he takes 2 level 5s, he's a dinosaur, his attack is 25, his defense is 1000. And basically his effect is detach an Xyz material, destroy a monster, and your opponent takes damage equal to that monster's attack originally, but Volcasaurus can't hit directly the turn you use this. He can still attack, he just can't hit directly. And then the final card is a number 101, Silent Honor Arc. Now, Silent Honor was another card that it took a long time to get just because he used to be $30 until he got reprinted. Then he came down to like $1. So, Silent Honor Arc is a water, he's a rank 4, Aqua, takes 2 level 4s, he's got 2100 attack and 1000 defense, and his effect is, you can attach 2 Xyz materials from him to target 1 special summon monster your opponent controls in face-up attack mode, and attach it to Silent Honor Arc as an Xyz material. And if Silent Honor Arc would be destroyed, you can detach an Xyz material from him instead, but you can only use Silent Honor's first effect once per turn. So that's basically it for a Dinomist deck. Like I said, it was going to be a lot shorter than my Blue Eyes profile, because my Blue Eyes profile was kind of strategy too, so I should probably edit that title to make it say deck list and strategy guide. But I'm going to leave this video here, so if you guys like this video, as always, slap the like button, and I'll see you guys later.